My ex-wife dragged me to court because $15,000 a month in child support wasn't enough. She walked in expecting a bigger paycheck. Instead, the judge made a decision that left her completely shattered. Hello, Reddit I plus here. When my marriage ended, I made one promise to myself. No matter how ugly the divorce got, my kids would never feel abandoned. That promise cost me $18,000 a month. My ex-wife Sabrina and I divorced 4 years ago. We had two kids together, Caleb, who was 10, and Noel, who had just turned 8. The divorce itself was exhausting, but the child support negotiations were worse. My attorney told me I could fight the number down, probably by a lot, but I was emotionally drained and desperate to end the war. So I signed 18 grand every month. That didn't include private school tuition. I paid that separately, health insurance too. Summer camps, dance lessons, basketball league, braces consultations, birthday parties, field trips, all separate. The monthly support was supposed to cover housing, groceries, clothes, utilities, and day-to-day life for the kids. At the time, I thought I was doing the honorable thing. Sabrina hadn't worked in years. She stayed home while I built my business, and during the marriage, I never held that against her. Even after the divorce, I didn't resent supporting her. She was still the mother of my children. At least that's what I kept telling myself. Then, about a year ago, she called me and said the support wasn't sustainable anymore. I remember sitting in my kitchen, staring at my coffee, while she explained that expenses had changed. I asked what expenses. She got irritated immediately. Everything costs more now. I asked for specifics. She sighed dramatically and said, "Do you really want me to list every little thing?" I said, "No. I want to understand why $18,000 a month isn't enough." That was apparently the wrong answer. She accused me of trying to control her, said I only cared about money, said a real father wouldn't nickel and dime the mother of his children. Meanwhile, I had Caleb every Tuesday and every other week. I coached his basketball team. I helped Noelle practice spelling words at the dining room table until she got frustrated and threw pencils at me. I wasn't some distant guy mailing checks from another state. I was there. That's what made everything hurt worse. 3 months later, she officially filed for increased child support. She wanted $26,000 a month, $26,000 for 2 children. My attorney, Victor, asked the court for a detailed accounting of expenses. Sabrina's attorney submitted one. Victor emailed it to me the night before the hearing with the subject line, "Read this before tomorrow." I wish I hadn't. There it was in black and white. $2,300 monthly lease payment for a Range Rover. $850 monthly membership at an upscale wellness club. $600 monthly cosmetic appointments. $1,200 monthly self-care and lifestyle maintenance. $950 dining and entertainment. $500 housekeeping service. $400 luxury skincare subscription. The actual child-related expenses, roughly $5,400. I sat there rereading the spreadsheet over and over, trying to understand how I'd become the financial sponsor for someone's influencer lifestyle. The craziest part, my kids lived like normal kids. Caleb wore the same 3 hoodies every week. Noelle still asked for macaroni shaped like cartoon characters. Nothing about their lives reflected $18,000 a month. The hearing happened on a Thursday morning. Sabrina walked into court looking calm and polished, like she expected the whole thing to be routine. Designer purse, perfect hair, expensive heels clicking across the floor. Her lawyer argued that the children deserved a lifestyle matching my income growth. Victor stood up and calmly walked through the expense report line by line. The judge, Judge Holloway, interrupted halfway through. "I'm sorry," she said, adjusting her glasses. "This says $850 for wellness services." Sabrina's attorney quickly said those services contributed to a stable household environment. Judge Holloway looked unimpressed. Then Victor pointed out I already paid tuition, health care, and extracurriculars separately. The courtroom got very quiet after that. Judge Holloway looked directly at Sabrina. "Can you explain why the majority of these expenses appear unrelated to the children?" Sabrina crossed her arms. "The children benefit when their mother is mentally and physically healthy." The judge nodded slowly, like she was trying very hard to stay patient. Then she said something I'll never forget. "Child support is intended to support children, not subsidize luxury adulthood." You could feel the temperature in the room change. About 20 minutes later, Judge Holloway issued the ruling. Support reduced from $18,000 monthly to $7,200. I honestly thought I misheard her. Even Victor blinked. The judge explained that based on documented child expenses, the previous amount was grossly excessive. Sabrina looked stunned. then furious. Her attorney tried arguing that reducing support so dramatically would destabilize the children's living situation. Judge Holloway didn't even hesitate. The children's living situation does not require luxury vehicle leases and cosmetic maintenance packages. That sentence nearly killed Sabrina. She stood up immediately. "This is unbelievable," she snapped. "I sacrificed my career for this family." Judge Holloway told her to sit down. Sabrina kept talking. She said she was being punished for motherhood. Said wealthy men always manipulated the system. Said I was trying to make her homeless. The judge's voice turned ice cold. "Sit down right now, or I will hold you in contempt." That finally worked. Sabrina sat, then she started crying. Not dramatic crying either. Real crying. Silent tears, shaking shoulders. For one dangerous second, I almost felt guilty. Victor leaned over and quietly muttered, "Don't fall for this." Court ended shortly after. As everyone filed into the hallway, I made the mistake of approaching her. I don't even know why. Maybe because once upon a time we loved each other. Maybe because seeing someone break down in public still triggers basic human empathy. I stopped a few feet away and said, "I don't want this to turn ugly. We can still co-parent peacefully." For half a second, she looked vulnerable. Then something in her face changed completely. It was like watching a light switch flip. She stepped closer and whispered, "You just destroyed your relationship with your children." Then she walked away. Victor watched her leave and said, "That wasn't grief. That was a threat." Turns out he was right. Everything changed after that hearing. Caleb became quieter. Noelle started asking weird questions. One night while I was helping her brush her hair, she asked, "Daddy, are we poor now?" I actually laughed at first because the question sounded absurd. Then I saw her expression. She was serious. I asked why she thought that. She said, "Mommy said we might lose the house because you stopped caring about us." I felt physically sick. That's the moment I realized Sabrina wasn't angry at me. She was recruiting the kids. Over the next month, it escalated. Caleb asked if I was going to stop paying for basketball because Mom said money's tight now. Noelle asked whether I still loved them the same amount. Every conversation felt like cleaning poison out of a wound. I started documenting everything. Dates, times, exact quotes. Victor told me to. At first I resisted because I didn't want another legal battle. Then Sabrina made the decision for me. One Friday night around midnight, she called crying hysterically. She said she was scared, said she didn't know who she was anymore, said she felt abandoned and trapped and overwhelmed. For almost an hour, she sounded human again. I listened. And honestly, I felt terrible for her. At the end of the call, I told her if she stopped involving the kids, I'd consider dropping the custody motion Victor was preparing. She thanked me. She said she just wanted peace. The next morning, at 6:42 a.m., I woke up to a text from her. "I'm telling the kids today that you chose money over them and destroyed this family. They deserve the truth." I stared at my phone for a full minute. Then I screenshotted it and sent it directly to Victor. His response came 5 minutes later. "Do not reply. This just changed everything." The custody hearing happened 3 weeks later. Judge Holloway reviewed the documentation quietly while the courtroom sat completely silent. Then Victor presented the text message, not dramatically, just calmly, word for word. The judge reread it twice. Sabrina's attorney looked blindsided. I genuinely don't think he knew the text existed. Judge Holloway finally looked up and asked Sabrina, "Did you send this?" Sabrina tried saying she was emotional and frustrated. The judge cut her off. "No, ma'am, you were intentional." That silence afterward was brutal. Then Victor requested primary custody. Sabrina immediately started crying again, but this time panic had replaced anger. She kept repeating, "You can't take my children away from me." Judge Holloway responded with something that still echoes in my head. "Nobody is taking your children away. You are losing trust because you chose to weaponize them." Sabrina looked shattered. The judge granted me primary physical custody. Sabrina got alternating weekends and one weekday dinner visit pending completion of co-parenting counseling. When the hearing ended, I didn't feel victorious. I felt exhausted, completely exhausted. I picked the kids up from school afterward. Caleb got in first, carrying his backpack, half open like always. Noelle climbed in behind him, holding a drawing she made in art class. Neither of them knew what had happened in court that morning. They were arguing about chicken nuggets within 5 minutes. And as I drove home, listening to them bicker in the back seat, I realized something that hit harder than any court ruling. Kids don't actually care about luxury SUVs or wellness clubs or designer handbags. They care about feeling safe. One stable parent can save a childhood. And that became my only goal after that.